Hello, I'm Jenna Lynn Roberts with Present Path Tarot, and today I'm sharing with you about the sword suit of the Tarot deck. This is the Rider-Waite-Smith deck, and um, they were the first to design the Minor Arcana. Pamela Coleman Smith did the drawings. And these swords cards represent air, which also represents thought. And it's interesting that it's metal and it's swords, so notice that we often say things like, he's very sharp, means he's very smart, or he's kind of dull, means he's kind of dumb, or we also say your words can cut like a knife. So words, communication is a part of this suit because your mind creates the thoughts that then your mouth says, and sometimes puts your foot in your mouth. So let's look at this very scary part of the tarot. Ooh, so many dark images in here. So the first one is the Ace of Swords, and that's that fresh thought. That's meditation in a sense too. It's that quietude, and it's that state of an idea of it's very light and unknown. And then we have the Two of Swords, which is when you're making a decision. So you have an idea, you got to make a decision about what you're doing with that idea. Or you hear a new idea, you hear a new philosophy, and you have to decide how that fits into your philosophy. So sitting with it, and again, Two of Swords can also be kind of a meditative card. But it's in a more pro and con sort of meditation zone of really feeling both sides of something with your mind. So feeling, but with what mentally suits you. Then things get wonky already at the Three of Swords. Oh no. So we have the Three of Swords, we have the identity crisis that comes with who am I with this new belief? Who am I as my identity? And also the heartache that can come when our beliefs are overthrown or when we're going through change mentally. It can cause a sort of heartache of loss. It also can have some grief. This can also be a sort of mental grief that comes with um, you know loss in life and mourning. And then because of that overwhelm, we need rest. So the Four of Swords, we need rest. We need to, again, meditate. Notice a lot of the word meditate is going to show up in the swords. We need to take a break and stop thinking about something. So when this card comes up for people, I'm like, you have to stop thinking about this thing. If you give yourself a break for a couple days from thinking about it, you'll actually get a fresh point of view and be able to attack it in a better way or approach it in a better way. And it can also be a sort of physical rest, but it's in the sense of like you might need to really slow down on every level, but really this is mental rest. When you do the mental rest, sometimes old wounds crop up. And so the Five of Swords is about that sort of internal need to mentally process the past, to lick old wounds, to deal with losses that and disappointments on a mental level. There's the heart level of dealing with that, and there's the mental level, and that's really assessing your story and how you're telling yourself your story and being kinder and also not being a victim in your story, making sure your story is empowering you. So what words are you using to tell your tale of your failures, and how can you transform that in a beneficial way to you? Sometimes after we realize the battles we've lost, we realize we need to also exit the situation. And this is the Six of Swords, which is kind of a divorce card, but it's a mental divorce card. It can be physical too in a sense, but it's deciding you're done with something. It could be done with a philosophy, it can be done with a program you've been following, or it can be done with a person. So, but it's just letting go and being like, I am moving away. But notice that as this person is leaving the situation, they have their swords with them, which represents to me the lessons, the messages that you've learned and gained through the years. And then the Seven of Swords is kind of two things. It can be betrayal and paranoia, which are kind of opposite, right? Because are you paranoid or is it real? So to me, this is a complicated card that way, and you might want to choose for yourself which way that card is facing to represent paranoia and which way it faces to represent betrayal. But this is the kind of self-sabotaging card where we have our mind has its beliefs that we're addicted to and keep coming back up on us and can can hurt us, and it also can be other people's mental abilities to hurt us through their own words and through their own betrayals. Eight of Swords is that card. Now, if you notice, so she's trapped, but is she trapped? She has her arms and waist tied, and her eyes are blindfolded, and she's surrounded by swords, but she can escape. Her feet are not tied, but she might have to cut herself on some of these thoughts, some of these changes of beliefs as she exits a situation. So this is a card that can often be associated with victim thinking and unraveling yourself from belief structures that hold you back in life and hold you down. Things like anxiety even can be in here. But it's more about that kind of like, I'm not good enough or not worthy, and unraveling that and rewriting your story to be more positive, much like mentioned before. The Nine of Swords can be insomnia, and my first mention is if someone has insomnia, it's very hard to get their mind on straight. So the first goal is to get them to sleep. And then after that, the idea is worry and anxiety on a really deep level where you can't sleep because your mind is spinning. And this is just your mind out of control in a spin. So we want to go back into the lessons of the first cards: meditation, rest, making sure that you are writing your stories right and getting clarity. So I feel like all the messages and lessons from the previous cards speak to the Nine of Swords. And then the Ten of Swords, whew, it looks terrible. I mean, this person is stabbed in the back. It looks awful. But if you think of it as all these thoughts, all these beliefs that have held that person down in their life, and how they can now make a choice to be done with those philosophy systems that did not serve them and move forward in life to a new era of new beliefs, and assessing the beliefs that don't serve them and assessing the beliefs that do, and moving into a new state of being, then this card can be very positive. So looking at that and seeing the benefits of, yeah, it looks dark, but it's in your mind. It's in your mind. So how can you shift your mind to be in a better state of being in your whole life? If you enjoyed this video, please go to presentpathtarot.com/readings and join my email list, and I will send you a PDF of the 4 elements of the tarot and how to look at them in a fun, easy way to gives a little cheat sheet that you can use while you read cards. And please also subscribe to my page, and if you like, you can make a donation that's in the comments, in the description. And I appreciate you joining me, and join me for the next round of the other elements. Thanks so much.